we make phone calls and write letters, sometimes over weeks and months at a time, to try to get them to reduce that amount down. Instead of owing 15, you owe 5. Sometimes we can get you to owe 0, depending on the fairness of the case. It gets a little more complex, but we attempt to reduce your subrogation payback even after the case is over, thus putting dollar for dollar more money into your settlement or your pocket, so to speak. Let's talk about subrogation. It's a big word and a lot of people don't understand what it is. But subrogation is going to be a very important part of any claim that a personal injury case has. Subrogation is just a fancy word for you've got to pay somebody back and they have a right to getting paid back. Normally, subrogation is a clause in your health insurance contract or perhaps in your Medicare or Medicaid contract. And what it essentially means is that if you go out and through me or in other ways, you are able to obtain a settlement or a verdict at trial for your injury case, and you've accumulated medical bills either through your health insurance company like Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, or Medicare, Medicaid, even TRICARE with veterans, those institutions have a right to get paid back, which is called subrogation, under that contract. So how does that affect your case? Most people don't pay a lot of attention to it at the beginning because it normally comes up at the end. But this video is to help you understand how it affects your case from the beginning. We will start gathering your medical bills and also working with your insurance companies like Anthem, Blue Cross, or Medicare to figure out what they paid on your behalf. And at the end of the day, we have that total, and we use that to talk with you about what a settlement means to you. For instance, if you were to settle a case for $100,000, you don't really know what that means unless you take out the attorney's fees and the subrogation and maybe some costs as well. And then that bottom number is the number that you'll get at the end of the case. So subrogation can be very large or it can be very small. If you have lots of medical bills, obviously that's going to play a large role in how much money you get at the end of the day. Now, it may seem unfair that you have to pay back Anthem, Blue Cross, or Medicare, and you're right, I think it's unfair. But unfortunately, the law works the way the law works, and once you have a litigation case, everybody learns a little bit about the world. And one piece of it is that everybody, including health insurance companies, hospitals, doctors, the government, they all want to take some money out of your settlement and benefit from that. Of course, they have a right to go get that money if you don't make a claim, but they never do. So they're piggybacking off of you to go get collected from the person who injured you. So that's what subrogation is. Subrogation is a payback, and your case most likely will have that part of it. So if you're watching this video, hopefully you're learning that subrogation is something that you need to ask your attorneys about, and you need to understand it so that at the end of the day, when a certain amount of money comes out of your settlement, you're not surprised. Now, one thing that the Metier Law Firm does in your case is we work very hard to try to reduce that subrogation amount. For instance, if you have a $100,000 settlement and you have $15,000 of subrogation for, let's say, Anthem Blue Cross or Medicare or Medicaid, then we would technically not be able to give you that $15,000 out of the settlement. We would need to give that to Medicare or Anthem Blue Cross. However, we make phone calls and write letters, sometimes over weeks and months at a time, to try to get them to reduce that amount down. Instead of owing 15, you owe 5. Sometimes we can get you to owe 0, depending on the fairness of the case. It gets a little more complex, but we attempt to reduce your subrogation payback even after the case is over, thus putting dollar for dollar more money into your settlement or your pocket, so to speak. So that's really the basics of subrogation. It's a payback. There's some intricacies involved through different pieces of it. I'll go into that in some other videos, but that's the bottom line is subrogation is paying somebody back because the contract you have with them, whether it be contract through health insurance, disability, Medicare, they have a right to get it paid back if someone else hurts you and you get and you get a settlement out of it. So that's subrogation.